All right, day 15 of my journey to a $500,000 stock market portfolio. All right, so I'm recording this video August 30th at 1 a.m. All right, so first step, let's go through my equity. Obviously, the markets have rebounded a bit. Now let's see how that has affected my positions. All right, so the equity in my margin account is up to 4,100. It's better, but still not back to what it was normally at. So 4141 plus our TFSA. I contributed $3,000 to my TFSA. So my equity in my TFSA is 50,830. And finally my RSP equity of 17,027. So that gives me a total equity of almost 72,000. I'm going to round it up to 72,000 in my Questrade accounts. But obviously with the help of almost $8,000 contribution to my TFSA this week. So remember, I made a trade in American Airlines on Monday or Tuesday, I don't remember. But obviously this one's already up. I bought the stock at 24.5. It's already trading at 26.32. So my max selling price for this trade here is 24.5. And as you can see, I could already close it for about 23.8 maybe. And I still have 4 weeks to go. So this one expires September 27 and the max I can sell it for is 24.5. But I could actually close it early for almost 23.8. But I'm not going to do that because I think it was only like $100 or $150 max profit. So it's worth waiting for. So Box had earnings yesterday. And it's funny. Yesterday, the stock dropped to 12, but then today it was trading at 14. So it's good for me because my cost is $20. So I want Box to reach $20 or else the premiums that I'll be selling at a 20 strike will be very low. As you can see, last month I only collected $20 or 20 cents. And I think it was for a 2-month period. So it was pretty weak. Dell also had earnings, but the stock went up. Actually, it was trading almost at 49. It looks like it closed at 46. That's a little disappointing. I don't know. You can see here it's trading at 51. So yeah, that's great. It's close to my strike of 52.5. So the stock was actually trading at 49 after hours. And right now, as you can see, it's trading at 51. Hopefully in the morning when the market's open, it's still trading at 51. My strike is 52.5. So that's good. It's getting closer to my 52.5 strike. Even if it doesn't reach it, I'll still be able to sell a decent premium for the following month. But this one actually expires September 20th. So I still have time. The stock could actually drop before then. It could go even higher. Whatever. I think this is going to be a good trade. I'm not worried about that. EWZ is trading at 40. And I gave myself so much downside protection that I picked a strike price of 37. So my max selling price is 37. And I think I was making like $100 profit on that. But I can actually close it out early. Because I chose a strike of 37, I can't take advantage of the fact that it's trading at 40. In return, I gave myself a decent downside protection, which with these markets, I'd rather go for downside protection. My max selling price is 37, but I could probably close it early for around 36.5. So today I sold an iron condor on the gold ETF, expiring September 30, so about 30 days out. And my strikes are 150 on the upside and 140 on the downside. So for me to make my max profit, I believe I collected $112. Yeah, I collected $112 on this trade, and I make max profit if come September 30th, this gold ETF stays between 140 and 150. So my plan with this is I'm going to look at it every day, of course. As soon as I feel like one side is tested. See, that's the thing with iron condors. There's different strategies that I read online. One of the strategies is once you place your iron condor based on certain probability, so you've picked a certain range from the beginning. Once you've picked that range, if the stock starts to go outside that range, if you never adjust the tested side. So my limits are 140 and 150. So if the stock starts to drop to 140, one of the strategies of adjusting is that you never touch the 140. You leave it as is. What you do is you bring the 150 closer, because once the stock comes to 140, the call side will start to show a profit. So you can close it for a profit and then bring it a little bit closer to collect additional premium, and that additional premium reduces your max loss. So right now, my max loss on this trade, the maximum I could lose, regardless where this ETF goes, the maximum I could lose is the difference between my strikes. So $5 minus what I collected. I collected $112. So my max loss is about $388. That's my max loss. But let's say the stock or the ETF starts getting closer to 140. One of the ways of adjusting is to never touch the tested side, close the untested side, bring it closer, maybe collect a $50 premium. So I just reduced my max loss by $50. So instead of having a max loss of $388, I'll have a max loss of $338. And if I still have time, well, the ETF can come back to the middle again, in the middle of the range. So I give myself some time for the ETF to recover or to come back within my range. I collected extra premium to decrease my max loss, although I've probably made my range tighter. But since the ETF was already on the downside, it's probably not going to climb all the way back up to the higher range. Another strategy that I read online for adjusting iron condors that go against you is to actually close the tested side. So you don't want to put yourself in a position where you might have to achieve max loss. So as soon as your tested side, as soon as one of your sides gets tested, you close it out and then you adjust accordingly. So for example, if the stock comes close to 140, well then I'll close the 140, trade for a loss, of course. I'll have to pay a debit, but then I'm going to sell another credit spread, put credit spread, let's say at 138 or 137. I'll collect some credit. It won't be enough to pay for the debit that I had to pay to close the 140. But to help pay for that debit, I'm going to sell another put credit spread at 138 or 137, either at the same expiry date or maybe add myself another week to the trade to collect a higher premium. Plus, I can bring my call side closer. So by doing these two things, I collect a credit from bringing the call side closer. I collect a credit from selling another put credit spread. And these two credits will offset the debit that I paid to close the losing side of the trade. So this is another strategy that I read online. And to me, I think this is probably the safest, because you feel like you're more in control. When you don't touch the tested side, you're sort of at the mercy of the markets. You're hoping for the stock to come back up within your range. But if you don't want to be at the mercy of the market, you want to control the result, well, closing the tested side makes more sense to me. So you close the tested side and you make an adjustment, whatever logical adjustment you can make. As long as you make an adjustment for a credit, then it makes sense. And as long as you feel like you're giving yourself a better chance to win in the trade. But any adjustment you make has to be for a credit. So by changing the strikes, but also by extending the period. So I think this is the approach I'm going to take in terms of adjusting iron condors. So remember, I had some covered call trades that I didn't know what to do with because the stock had dropped way far from my cost and I didn't have enough premiums to collect at my cost if I choose a strike at my cost. So I decided to take the risk and to sell a strike that is lower than my purchase price and just deal with it. So with Goodyear tire, my cost is 15. I ended up selling a call option at a 12 strike. Right now the stock is trading at 11.49, so I'm 50 cents away from being in trouble, but I still have until September 20th. So my logic behind this is that I want my positions to generate income every month. That's the whole point of covered calls, is to generate income every month. And I said to myself that most of the time the stock will not go above the strike price that you choose, as long as you choose a strike price that has a low probability of being reached. And especially that there's no earnings coming out for Goodyear Tire, then it's got a low chance of achieving or reaching that strike. It could happen for sure, but it's not going to happen all the time. But in the case it does, what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to have to roll the call option. So I'll have to buy it back for a loss, but I'll just sell that same strike for the following period. That way I'll collect the credit and I give myself a chance for Goodyear Tire to come back below the problematic strike in question. Or I could, like I mentioned in my other video, buy back the call option at 12, but then sell a call option at 13 or 14. I'll collect something from that, of course, but the overall trade might be a debit because, of course, I had to pay to buy back the $12 call option. But I'll just add that debit to my final selling price of the stock. And that's in case that happens. But in most cases, it's not going to happen, but it doesn't mean that it's never going to happen. I did the same thing for Kraft Heinz. My cost is 36. I sold a call option at 27. So now I hope that by September 20th, Kraft Heinz does not trade above 27. So Netflix is a completely losing trade. I'm going to have to close it out for a loss. Nvidia is a good trade for me, covered call trade. My max profit is about $412. By September 20th, I'm already up. As you can see here, the difference, I'm already up almost $200, $175. So I bought this trade for 150.88, and I could sell it right now for about 152.5 about. But my max selling price is 155. So that's if I hold it until September 20th. And that's if Nvidia is trading above 155 come September 20th. So I think I'm going to hold on to it a bit longer because I want that $400 to compensate for all these other bad trades. So I've got this vertical put on the SPY at a 293 strike. I still have time, but obviously with the SPY going up today, it put me in a better situation. I think I was down. I think yesterday for me to close this trade, I had to pay like over $200. Now it's only $164. So my profit going into this trade was $107. Right now I could close it for $164. So I'd be losing money on this trade if I close it. But I still have time. I still have until September 20th for the SPY to be above 293. I've got this other vertical put on the SPY expiring September 13th. So expiring in about 2 weeks. I just need the SPY to be above 277 for me to achieve max profit, which is $80. Right now the SPY is at 292. So it's got a very good chance for me to achieve max profit. Or if I want, I can close the trade out early for somewhere in between $26 and $29, as you can see here. So my profit in that case would be 80 minus $28 minus commissions of about $12. So that's one of my options, or I could just hold on to it till expiry date to achieve full profit. So basically, by holding on to it till expiry date, basically trying to keep $27 plus commission of $8. It might be worth it. I've got this iron condor on the SPY. My max profit is about $130. Right now, I can close it for about somewhere in between 117 and 128. So it's showing a small profit, but still too early. But as you can see, if the SPY is at 292 and it continues to go up, my call side could be tested because my strike on the top is 300. It's got a good chance of reaching 300, I think, by September 23rd. So I might have to make an adjustment on this one. So the adjustment that I could possibly make on this one is probably close out the whole trade and move my iron condor higher. So instead of having a strike of 275 and 300, I could maybe have a strike of 280 or 285 and 305, for example. So when I close this trade, see right now I could actually close it without losing anything. And then I could place another trade and I'll collect the credit from the other trade. So if I feel like this 300 is not safe, I could go ahead and close it right now and place a new trade that makes more sense according to where the SPY is trading at right now. But my position is not in a loss for me to do that right now, so I don't want to make adjustments too early for nothing. But I'll definitely watch it. Like if it goes to $200, if the whole trade is going to cost me $200 to close while I collected 130 to start, then I'll start thinking of making adjustments. Also, you have to consider how much time is left in the trade, especially that the SPY is an ETF, so it's going to be very cyclical. It's going to go up and down, up and down. It has a good chance of coming back. So we'll see. But since the SPY just dropped hard recently, it's probably going back up now. So my vertical put on Tesla, remember I collected $100 on this and I needed to stay above 200 come September 20th. So now that Tesla went up today, as you can see, I could close the trade I could close the trade for less. So about $80, let's say. So that gives me $20 profit minus commission. It's not worth it. So although it shows a profit, but I'm not going to take any action yet because it's too early and because of commissions. And plus, I have a good chance of making 100% profit on this one. So I'm going to wait. But it's still something that I look at every day. So on United States Steel, I did the same thing. I sold a call option at a 13 strike, but my cost is 18. So I'm taking the risk here. You see the difference of my cost and my chosen strike. So I just hope that United States Steel does not trade above 13 come September 20th. So my AMD trade that I placed this week at a 28.5 covered at a 28.5 strike, I could also close it early. As you can see, my max selling price is 28.5, but I could close it out early for 27.8 about. But I'll hold on to it a bit longer, try to get closer to 28 point something. I don't have to wait till September 27th to actually make my full profit or something close to it. So that's what's good about this type of trade. I went into this trade knowing that my profit would be about 4% in 30 days. And I could actually end up making 3% in a week. And I gave myself some decent downside protection. Just in case the markets go down, I still make a profit. So that's why I love covered calls, is because if a stock goes up, I still make a profit. Yes, I made less profit than if I had just bought the stock alone, but I still make a profit. If the stock stays the same, I make a profit. If the stock goes down, depending how much down it goes, I still make the same amount of profit. So it's beautiful. If that doesn't sound beautiful to you, I don't know what does. And I did the same thing with Teva, sold at a 9 strike, while my cost is really about $15. So this one's really risky, but right now it's trading at $7. So it's quite far from my strike of 9, but pharmaceuticals can jump like crazy. So it's kind of risky, but I really wanted to collect income from my positions, or else this strategy doesn't work. All right, so this was a quick overview of my stock market portfolio. So if you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below. Like always, if you're going to open an account with Questrade to trade on the stock market, use my referral code in the description below the video to get up to $250 back. Thanks for watching.